So the first thing that we want you to know, we do this every day. We've done it a lot, and we have the system. So let's talk about that a little bit. The first thing that you need to know about Alabama real estate law, especially if you've never bought or sold real estate in Alabama in the past, is a phrase called caveat emptor.
Yes.
What is that? I'll pick up my trusty Latin noun declension coffee mug here. It's a legal term. It's a Latin legal term, and really what it means is buyer beware. Alabama is a buyer beware state, and that means that sellers don't do a disclosure here,
Right.
except in very, very rare circumstances. But as a buyer, you need to know what you're buying, because once it's bought, it's yours. Now,
Right.
we're not, when we're working with buyers, we're not intimidated by that. We work in this environment, and
Right.
we know how to navigate that process.
Right.
And wind up with buyers that are very, very happy.
And it matters because we do know some people that have gotten into some pretty sticky messes because maybe some things weren't disclosed, and maybe their inspector didn't catch it, and then they ended up in a really crummy situation. And our job, knowing we know what Alabama is in a caveat emptor state, is to make sure that you guys don't get put in that kind of position.
And so it's not just our expertise, it is also the expertise of the inspectors that we work with.
Right.
That those inspectors, the ones that we work with that are very professional, and they have also often worked with out-of-state buyers, and they also carry that accountability and responsibility.
So understanding caveat emptor is super important. So what would be the next step as you are ready to,
Right.
find interest and look at things here in Birmingham?
Well, so once you know you want to move to Birmingham, the next thing that we want to do is we want to set up a call.
Right.
Again, we work as consultants. In other words, our goal is not just to open doors and sell houses. Our goal is to be your consultant, and truly your lifelong consultant. You know what that starts with? That starts with a conversation. Maybe it's a Zoom call, maybe it's a conference call, or maybe you're in town for the weekend. But regardless, we want to get together and understand what are you looking for? What are your needs? What part of Birmingham? What kind of vibe do you want in your neighborhood? Where are you going to be working? Do you understand traffic flow?
Right.
And again, ultimately, for your family, what are your financial goals? Because, again, we want to be that advisor, not just on picking a house, but also looking out for your financial interests along the way.
Right. And so, as you're getting ready to make that call, as you reach out to us, just things to be keeping in mind, which you touched on for a minute ago, was, do you want to be in the city or do you want to be in the country?
Right.
Do you, financially, like what price point do you want to be at? But also, like, do schools matter? Because
Right.
some people it matters, some people it doesn't.
And just like what you were saying, Birmingham is one of those really cool places in the country where if you want to live in a place and not have a vehicle and walk to all of your
Right,
basic
right.
needs, we have parts of the metro area that we can say, if you live here and you work here, you can walk everywhere.
Right.
If you want to, as you said, live out in the country, if your goal is to homestead, or to expand over a few acres, if you want to have a home business, or if you want to, work in the downtown setting, we understand all the different types of communities that you can choose from here in town. All right. After we have completed our consultation, what comes next? How in the world are you going to be able to buy a house? Because nobody really wants to buy a house sight unseen. So how do we help with that process?
Well, you're not really going to be sight unseen, because we will take a video camera and we will go through that home and we will show you all of the points of that home. Because you know what? You can look at pictures online, and if you've looked at any houses ever, you know that pictures lie. So that's not necessarily the best way. So video will help you to understand what's actually going on in the home. But also, when we're inside the home, the things that you can't tell from pictures or video is like the smell.
Like, you can smell the screen as much as you want to, but you're not going to smell you're not going to get what the house smells like.
Right.
That's what we're there for, right?
Well, not only that, but also, what does the street look like?
Right.
Like, how does the yard line up, and how close are the neighbors, and those types of things. So we're there to help you guys be able to, at least from the initial onset, see how the house looks and see if it's something that you even have more interest in.
That's right.
Okay, so now that we kind of know what you're looking for and we've done some videos and we've looked at some homes, well, what is the next step? Let's talk about lending.
All right, so after your virtual tour, here's the next most important piece. We're going to want to make sure that you're connected with a great local lender. Now, it happens frequently that buyers come to us from out of state and they've got a fantastic lender in their hometown on the other side of the country. The problem, and I mean, and certainly you can use anybody you want to. We've worked with lenders that we've never met before, and we've had fantastic experiences. However, we've had some really rough experiences as well. And so we know lenders here that can get the job done. They do a great job. And the lenders that we work with also have a really strong reputation in this market.
Right.
And sometimes working with the right lender, having that pre-qualification letter with the right lender's name on it is actually something that elevates your offer compared to maybe other offers on the same property. So choosing the right lender makes a big difference. The last thing that you want to have happen is that we're a week before closing and you've got movers coming and everything going on and you're about to make an interstate, a cross-country trek, and your lenders say, oops, wait, we need another 10 days on this deal. So the people that we work with, they're just really good about getting the file closed, which is so much less stress on you.
Okay, so you're set up with you found a house, you're set up with a lender. So what's the next step? Well, you got to make an offer.
That's right.
And so how do you do that when you're out of town?
Well, that's where we again come into play as realtors. Most people think that they're realtors there to find the house, and certainly we know the neighborhoods, we know the city. We have a lot of experience in hundreds of transactions. But where we really shine is in that negotiation process. How do we get through the process from offer to close and protect your interests along the way? And again, that's where we come in. Like, we know in general how to communicate with the other agents in the market to find out as much as we can about what kind of competition are you facing on a home, and what would make your offer stand out over and above the other offers. And then we can give you guidance on what types of terms to put in the offer that might sweeten the deal for you. So for example, is it a quick close or a long close that seller needs? We can help you get that information. It's really not that much more expensive to pay for your own termite bond as opposed to asking the seller to pay for that. But it can go a long ways towards making your offer just look and feel neat and easy and clean. And that's how our buyers win so often, is by being able to put together the best offer.
Another thing that we do is communicate with your agent. So if you have a home to sell and maybe you're in a different state, like, we communicate well with those agents so that they understand what's going on here, and that way they can navigate the sale of your property wherever you are. And I mean, we had one situation where, I mean, it was like dominoes, and we had a family that was moving here from Louisiana, and they're under contract here, and then their home was under contract. So we're communicating with their agent, which then we needed to communicate with the buyer's agent as well, so that everybody made sure that they could close on time, so that each family got to the next house where they wanted to be. And so that's a lot of communication, that's a lot of navigating, and that's what we're here to do for you guys.
It's really fun to be able to lead everybody through that process over and over again.
So the next thing we want to talk about is you're under contract. That's awesome, and we are so excited for you guys. But the ball starts kind of rolling really fast after that point. It goes real fast for a little period of time, and then it kind of slows down a little bit. So the first thing you want to talk about is earnest money. In your state, it may be different. So in Alabama, you need to have it in within 3 days, and so that's a personal check or a.
We can navigate that. It can be different things in different forms. And we can talk through that, but yeah, earnest money is first.
Right. And then inspections.
That's right.
And so inspections matter, and we have a list of local inspectors who are excellent, and we've actually lost deals because those inspectors were that good. And so they really do tell you what's going on in a house, and you want to know as you're getting ready to move. So inspections come up, so that's your general inspector, and that's the one thing that we can't do for you. We can hand you a list of them, we can give you their phone numbers, inspectors, but you guys have to actually pick the inspector, because like that, they're working for you. This is your purchase and they're working for you, and we don't want that to be misconstrued as they're working for us. After that's kind of done and you have the general inspection, that's when we'll start negotiating repairs.
All right, after the general inspection is done, we'll walk you through a repair request. And you know what? That might be asking the seller to fix a few things. It might be just, you know, maybe more concessions from the seller to go toward your closing costs or something along those lines. Again, we do this every day. There's lots of options, and we would present those to you at that time. If you said, hey, I want to have repairs done, but I'm not living in Birmingham locally, how do I know it's been done right? You know what we always recommend is at the end of the transaction, before we close, let's do a walkthrough and have your inspector there so that he or she can re-look at those issues and make sure the repairs are done correctly. So after the general inspection and repairs, here comes the what we call additional inspections, which in Alabama, because of our weather and the terrain, we always want to have a termite and wood fungus inspection. We always want to have either a septic or sewer inspection, and we always recommend a survey. Some of our buyers in recent years have wanted to save money on a survey, but we just cannot ever recommend that. It's recommended to make sure you know what you're buying. If it's supposed to be 1.5 acres, you know, you want to make sure that the survey shows that. You want to make sure that your driveway or your fence is not on the neighbor's property or the other way around. So we do definitely recommend all those inspections. And that is what gives you peace of mind, so you can sleep well at night about your purchase.
Well, and you know too, a lot of times people think, well, it's an established neighborhood, or this home's been there for a long time, so whatever the acreage is that's listed is probably what it is. But literally just last week, we had a couple who bought a home that was built in 1958, I think,
Right.
And I think it was listed at like 1.5 acres, but they ended up with like 1.87 acres once they actually did the survey. So you never know, like, however the number got passed down, we don't know, but they ended up in a better situation than what they even thought they had. So surveys really are important.
Absolutely.
All right, we've gotten past inspections. Everything is clear to close. What do we do now?
It is time to close. All right, so a lot of people say, hey, I'm going to be on a moving truck on the day we're supposed to close because we want to move in. Do I have to be there in person? And so a couple of answers to that. First of all, we work with really, really strong real estate attorneys here in town. And if your lender is good with you doing what we would call a remote closing, which means, you know, you sign the papers the morning of or the day before closing, if they're good with that, our attorneys can help you make that happen. So it might be that you go to where you have a notary public in wherever you're moving from and sign papers there. But otherwise, we'll be able to time that closing in a way and ideally coordinate it with your travel. So we'll just have to figure that out based on your situation at the time.
But our job is just to keep you updated all along the way. So you know exactly what's happening. You know exactly when money needs to be transferred. You know exactly what step needs to be taken so that you're not caught off guard and you can plan as best as possible.
All right, hopefully this has been helpful. Moving to Alabama from out of state does not have to be stressful. We're here, well, it's going to be stressful. I'm not going to lie to you. But you know what? Having the right advocate for you here locally can make it so much smoother. And so that's what we want to do, is to be here and make that process a whole lot easier.
So if you have any questions about properties in the Birmingham area, feel free to reach out to us. You can text us or direct message us at 205-368-5995, or you can email us at info@mbrownrealty.com. We are Mike and Brandy Brown at Keller Williams in Birmingham, Alabama, and we will catch up with you guys soon.